Welcome in, episode number, I don't know, we took a couple weeks off. I'll be perfectly honest with you.
Back by popular demand.
We haven't been canceled.
We have not, people sent us emails and such, and have you been canceled? What happened? Because I think it was the last episode, a couple of weeks ago.
Yep.
You had actually said, haven't been canceled yet, and then all of a sudden we're gone for a couple of weeks.
But we're back, and we're excited to be here. This is Mostly Peaceful. My name is Chris Hand. To my left is the one and only Dan Mandis. What's up, dude? How are you?
I am outstanding. Can you tell me, as part of the younger adult generation, although just to let you know you are getting older, why are the younger generation of Americans, early 20-somethings, mid-20-somethings, why are they not having kids? There's this whole article in the Daily Mail, and this has been talked about before, that they're not having kids. And now we are in this situation, it would appear, where in a few years, we're going to have a population crisis. As a matter of fact, America in 2025, apparently we're going to have about 6,000 fewer people this year than expected.
I mean, I think it's a combination of a few things, right? We have seen an intense propaganda campaign about how much better it is to have a child-free life. We have also seen a lot of younger generations being saddled with college debt, not being able to dig themselves up out of a hole. So why would they want to bring kids into the world? You've seen a lot of propaganda about how it's so expensive to have kids. It's not fun to have kids. It ruins your life. And you've seen that in mainstream media, culture, sitcoms, all of that. You've seen marriages falling apart, divorce rates exploding. My generation is a generation that grew up among those divorce rates. I don't think you can point to one thing. I think it's a culmination of a lot of things. I think you could fix it, though, if the government could get behind incentivizing people to have children. And I think that would be a proper way to do it.
Do you remember the hue and cry when Republicans came out and, was it Josh Hawley? I think it was Josh Hawley. Came out and wanted to offer a $5,000 child tax credit. And there were a lot of people who were Republicans that were saying, why in the world would we possibly do that? And talking about how all of a sudden Republicans sound like Democrats, but then J.D. Vance came in and backed that idea. And I was, one of the first ones, and I think you were too, that we said, well, actually this tracks, because if Republicans want to be the pro-family party, then why not give parents the tools to actually be able to, I don't know, maybe have a parent stay at home, or just simply make it more affordable to have kids?
Well, and then if you expand that out, it's a lot more costly to our nation to go the left's way, which is saying we have a population decline and we have to import more people. Because then those people come in and they take jobs from Americans, and then they send half of their salary back to their home country, and it doesn't go into our economy.
And then, oftentimes they don't assimilate into our culture, and that brings a whole slew of problems.
Well, I think that's a real issue that we have. I mean, you look at radical Islam and the Muslim invasion of a lot of countries in the West. The issue with Americans is that we think in 2 and 4 year cycles, whereas a lot of these radical ideologies, be it communism or Islam, they'll say, well, we'll just outbreed you.
Yeah.
Like in the West, our culture was built on guys building like the Cathedral of Notre Dame and being like, I'm going to work on this my entire life and I'm never going to see it completed.
Yeah.
But that's gone.
Skyscrapers in New York.
Yeah. And I think that we do need to get back to more of like a 100-year plan in the West.
One of the things we talk about what is happening in Europe, and I think you and I have talked about it before, but the Muslim invasion.
Yeah.
And it is stunning to me that we don't have politicians in our country, or even our society. We don't have more of a concept of what is happening in Europe and the invasion that happened in Europe and the non-assimilation. But it's more than just non-assimilation. They literally want to take over Europe, and they've said they want to take over.
Well, and then they're still abducting girls off the streets. Like,
Yeah.
that's still happening. I saw a video the other day, and I tweeted out on my X account, at Chris Hand on Air. This guy, Basil the Great, and he tweets about all this kind of stuff in England. They're still grabbing girls off the streets. It's like, where are the men? And right now, like, you're being called a racist for hanging up the English flag.
Yeah.
You bring the Union Jack into a store, and they'll tell you to get out.
Or just simply speaking the truth as to what's happening, or repeating that, hey, this band of Muslims told me on the street that they're not only are they not going to assimilate, but they're going to take over. I mean, they're very open about it. So why it is that that conversation is shunned in Europe is beyond me.
And the conversation's shunned here too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's easy to point at Europe and be like, "Oh, look at you guys, you're so backwards." But then I would just go, "Hey, look at Dearborn, Michigan, where at 5 a.m. you're hearing the call to prayer for Muslims being blared on the streets. You're seeing like they have noise ordinances, right? In Dearborn, Michigan, that have been on the books for years. There was a guy, a white guy, that went to the city council, and he complained. He said, "This is against the noise ordinance. You're not allowed to have this blaring at 5 a.m." And they said, "We can't wait until you leave this town. You're not welcome here."
Yeah. His own town.
This is America. Like, I'm sorry. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not with that stuff. They're same city, Dearbornistan in Michigan. You had a huge Muslim fair. Outside the fair, on a public street, on a public sidewalk, you had former Muslims that had converted to Christianity trying to spread the word of the gospel. Police rounded them up and said, "You can't be here. You
Insanity.
can't do this." And it's like, you see the left crying about the First Amendment and free speech, especially when it comes to things like, the Charlie Kirk stuff and all that. We're seeing that locally here with that teacher in Franklin who's now suing. Um, where's the hue and cry for the First Amendment there?
Yeah, yeah. So was it so then going back full circle though, so what is the answer to our population decline? Because I think I think you left one point out, and that is that there is really this younger generation of men that have come up that are slow to what is it, failure to launch,
Yep.
where they've grown up and they don't really have a sense of what it is like to be a man or masculine. I don't know if it's that they're playing too many video games or I don't know, not enough video games or what,
Or
but
they're
they
just or
just
they're just not interested in the culture of women currently with body counts that are in the double digits before they leave college. The culture that's like, I'm gonna be a girl boss. It's not biblical. It's not rooted in the Bible. Like we've had a design for thousands of years that worked pretty well by all intents for all intents and purposes, and it's been completely discarded. That I think that you can point to feminism as a big cause of that, and maybe not even like first wave feminism, but like second wave, third wave has gotten far more radical.
militant.
Yeah, and I think that there's a lot of that comboed in with the propaganda that kids are more of a hassle, and then we also came out of a point where in the early days of America the children were more of a resource. At a certain point, they're helping on the farm, they're helping with the livestock, they're helping. And where then as we industrialized, it became more of a especially in the industrial revolution, the the kids once the child labor laws came in, well now mom and dad are trying to figure out what to do with the kids.
Yeah.
How do we, childcare costs are through the roof. I think what I would tell people is they like, "Oh, it's such a tough time to have kids." I'm like, "There's never a great time to have kids.
It's true.
It's always going to be expensive. Have more kids than you can afford." I think is the message that we need to push. It's going to be worth it. It's going to be hard. My wife and I were sitting down last night, and we have a couple friends who are in the media industry. I'll just put it that way, and they were at some big event and they're auctioning off these items and they're both in media. And I looked at my wife and I said, our life might be hard sometimes with 4 kids, but their life
Yeah.
is empty. Their life is empty. They don't know what they're missing. And I would say have more kids than you can afford. Bite off more than you can chew. Take the job that you don't think you're qualified for. Like go for it. Like now's the time. People are like, "Oh, but there's so much uncertainty." I said, "It's the best time to have kids, especially if you're a conservative." The competition that my kids are gonna be facing are blue-haired, they thems that
Yes.
wanna use a litter box, and, I'm sorry, my kids are gonna run circles around you.
Well, we just had Charlie Kirk Remembrance Day. One of the big things, and I really love this, 31 ways to live like Charlie Kirk. I don't know if you
Yep,
saw that or not, but
I
Turning
did.
Point released it. And one of the ways to live like Charlie Kirk was to have kids.
Yeah,
And I think that does make all the sense in the world. One of the things that I thought was interesting, and I covered this on my radio show, was the media was covering this notion of conservatives having kids as like an extension of white supremacy. And it was horrifying and insulting because you just said that folks that don't have kids, perhaps their life is empty, but there's nothing wrong with wanting to have kids. And frankly, there's nothing wrong with wanting to repopulate the earth to ensure that America does not have a population decline. That's number one. And number two, there's nothing wrong with wanting to have kids. And for the left to say, oh, that's an extension of white supremacy because it's conservatives that are sort of driving that momentum. I think it's just downright bizarre
yep.
to demonize having kids.
Yeah, and it's hard to have kids, but choose your heart. So is being an elderly person with no one there to take care of you. You know,
Yeah.
like, that's gonna be hard too.
Yeah.
Like, choose your heart. Like, it's a headache sometimes, I'm not gonna lie to you, like, but it's the most rewarding headache I've ever had in my
Well,
life.
listen, I stopped at 2,
Yeah.
and 2 was hard, and the funny thing is, both times my now ex-wife and I said, "Oh, man, is this the right time? Are we going to be able to afford this?" And you're right. There's never a bad time to have kids, and here I am, 26, 27, 28 years later, and I don't have any regrets
No.
regarding the kids. So, I think that if I would say, okay, Democrats, if you don't want to have kids and you just want to have all the conservatives having kids, okay, then guess what? In 18, 19, 20, 22 years, we are going to outvote you big time. And
Yep.
one of the things I thought was interesting is that in the news cycle today, let's go from one extreme to the other, talking about having kids to the old folks. We're taping this on Thursday. Mitch McConnell has collapsed in the Senate. And again, I don't know what is going on with Mitch. I hope that he's okay.
Yeah, like,
But
I pray for him as a person, but, like, we've seen Mitch freeze up how many times now?
yeah, he's 83 years old. He's 83 years old. He's frozen, as you said, a bunch of times. And part of me is thinking, you know what? And I'm against this, by the way. But at what point do we start really truly thinking about an age limit in Congress? We've got 83-year-old Mitch. We had Dianne Feinstein
With her Chinese spy.
with her Chinese spy, and she was clearly riddled with dementia.
Well, her daughter had power of attorney, was, like, voting for her on the floor.
That is
You
insanity.
remember that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know about age limits, right? Like, because you look at Trump
Right.
and
79.
you look at what he's been able to do
Yep.
over the last, week or so. He's been nonstop, and he's an absolute machine. It has to be a case by case basis, but I just part of me sees a lot of that boomer generation clinging on to power, and it's not just in politics, it's also CEOs of companies and things like that. Like, know when it's time to move on.
Well, so here's the question. Because I actually agree with you on age limits. I'm not a fan of age limits, but I am a fan of, okay, when you start showing signs of slippage, maybe you've got to take a cognitive test because we've got Mitch McConnell freezing up again. Hope he's okay. We, of course, had Joe Biden for 4 years. That was a complete train wreck. And that is a man who definitely should have taken a cognitive test. And the American people should have had some sort of input or seen the results, whatever it is, because we all knew that Biden was out of it.
Yep.
We all knew that he was losing cognitive function by the day. His doctor lied and said that, oh, he was fine. His
His whole
staff,
staff lied.
his whole staff, the entire media landscape lied.
Ian Sams, who is the deputy press secretary, I believe,
Yes.
He said, oh, he's sharp as a tack. He runs circles around us. Then it comes out he only met with him twice over the 2 years that he was there.
Yeah, crazy. And so we have all of these examples of the media lying about and the Democrats lying about Joe Biden. And meantime, they're saying things about Donald Trump. They don't think that he is mentally fit. Clearly, he is.
Well, do you see Jasmine Crockett, her new Blue Anon conspiracy theory?
Blue Anon conspiracy theory. No.
She said that Trump had a stroke.
She said that Trump had a stroke.
She said Trump had a stroke. She was on stage talking. She's like, that's why he went to, they released his physical the other day.
Yeah.
She's like, he went to Walter Reed because he had a stroke. And she's talking with medical professionals. And the more she talks with medical professionals, the more she sees that. It has to be true.
It has to be true.
And
Is that
I'm
what
like,
she said?
and
Wow.
this is in the immediate aftermath of flying to Israel, meeting with hostages, speaking with the press, giving an hour-long speech at the Knesset,
Yep.
meeting with press, flying to Egypt, having that meet and greet line with every world leader.
Yes.
And remember when people used to say that we were going to fall off on the world stage because Trump is there?
Yeah.
And everybody's bending the knee to Trump. And then he gives another hour-long speech, flies back to D.C., lands at 3 a.m. in the morning, meets with Javier Milei, does a huge cabinet meeting with the press, then does the Charlie Kirk Medal of Freedom ceremony. And today he's back at it again. Yesterday he was doing the press conference with Kash Patel.
Yeah.
What,
He is all
when
over
did
the
he have the
place.
stroke? And Jasmine Crockett was one of the ones that said, I've never questioned Joe Biden's mental acuity.
She said that?
Yes.
Well, yeah, that's a strike against you, Jasmine Crockett.
I don't want to interrupt our enemies while they're making mistakes, but so much.
They seem to make mistake after mistake. I mean, talking about just real quickly the older folks in Congress and House of Representatives and the Senate, Mitch McConnell in the Senate, but Nancy Pelosi, where she is, and it's almost there's two different parts of this video. Let's roll that video. This is the reporter for Mike Lindell's network. I wish I knew what her name was, but the reporter for Mike Lindell's web
Lindell
network.
TV.
Yeah, Lindell TV. And she catches up with Nancy Pelosi. I want to play this audio for two reasons. Mason, roll that tape.
Congresswoman Pelosi, are you at all concerned that the new January 6th committee will find you liable for that day?
Okay.
Are you at all concerned about the new January 6th committee finding you liable for that day? Why did you refuse the National Guard on January 6th?
Shut up. I did not refuse the National Guard. The president didn't send it. Why are you coming here with Republican talking points as if you're a serious journalist?
The American people want to know. We still have questions.
So you see there are a couple of things. Number one, she can't even walk. She is,
Yes.
83 years old, and she's got some guy that is, helping her shuffle along.
It's like the way my grandmother was walked down the aisle at my sister's wedding.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, she's
it's
too old.
and I'm not knocking that. Like that happens.
Yeah.
But go home and be with your family.
They cling to, and that's number one. Number two is the sheer lunacy of her. Suddenly she gets her energy to turn around and tell that reporter to shut up.
Yeah, because you had the audacity of questioning why she didn't send them in the National Guard, which was her job.
That's exactly right. So there's two things there, but number one is I think that these older politicians, I think that there does come a point where they need to take a cognitive test or something. And Mitch McConnell may be one. I think Nancy Pelosi, I think she's okay there cognitively, but there does come a point, man.
But the difference in the conversation couldn't be more stark because we're being completely fair. Like, I think Chuck Grassley's too old. You're 91.
Yeah.
Like, make way for somebody else, man. Make way for new ideas. Like, even in the sense of, like, if you can't understand how to work Instagram in 2025,
Yeah.
you probably shouldn't be in office.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't understand the dangers of AI or digital currency or digital ID, you probably shouldn't be in office. And I would be hard-pressed to see Chuck Grassley teach me something about technology.
Right. Now, Chuck Grassley is a champion for truth. He's a champion for transparency.
And I'm not taking away anything from his career, but it's like the old football coaches who it's like, you were great and you won all these rings,
Back in the 80s.
but the game has passed you by.
Yeah.
We are in a completely new America in 2025.
Well, one of the things as you look at the older politicians is that the people in their district, they just keep voting them in. And that's part of the problem. A
Well,
lot of
but a
people,
lot of that goes back to the uh, the the networks that they have for fundraising,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So like Chuck Grassley, he might get voted in, but it's because he raised easily $10 million during a primary, and the young upstart couldn't cross the
It's name
$300,000.
recognition.
Yeah,
A huge part of that is name recognition. Now, I feel like we're bearing the lead because we haven't been on for a couple of weeks. So let's talk about Israel real quick. And you touched on Trump, his trip to Israel, speaking in front of the Knesset, and all those things that he has been able to accomplish. You know what I thought was interesting? It occurred to me that all of these ceasefire now people on the left, the ceasefire now people, well, there's now a ceasefire. Why are they not celebrating Donald Trump?
right.
I don't really get it.
Well, Orange Man bad.
Orange man bad. At some point, though, they've got to have some self awareness, though. Wouldn't you think that there would be some self awareness? Donald Trump finally got the ceasefire now accomplished, and they refuse to, number one, it's like they refuse to even acknowledge that he has been able to do the incredible. Nobody thought that there would ever be peace in the Middle East between Israel and Hamas. Now, I will admit that it's tenuous because
Well,
of what Hamas is doing.
but that was always going to be tenuous.
But yes, the point, though, is that he got the hostages out. That's the whole point.
It's a huge part of it. I think another thing that hasn't been highlighted enough is the fact that could any other world leader get a standing ovation in a room full of Jews, and then an hour later get a standing ovation in a room full of Muslims?
No, no, I don't think so, Don. And here's the deal: this is the personification of peace through strength.
Yes.
Peace through strength.
Also,
Somebody,
some during the News Nation, did you see the News Nation town hall with Fetterman and Stephen A. Smith?
yeah,
They asked him, could Kamala Harris have gotten this done? And Fetterman dances around it in a nice way. Well, she's not president. I don't want to deal in hypotheticals. And whatever. I give him credit for that. It was the right way to answer it, to not completely
right.
alienate yourself from your party.
right.
But I made the point today on my show, there's no way she could have gotten it done. And I'll tell you for one simple reason. She could be the smartest woman on planet Earth. She's still
A
a
woman.
woman.
Yep.
And I don't know how uncomfortable that makes people, but if you're dealing with a Muslim majority country, like we were talking about, how the culture, the lack of assimilation, well, okay, as a woman, you're not getting that respect.
How did Hillary do as Secretary of State?
Exactly.
I think
What difference does it make, Dan?
what difference now does it make? I think, though, that somebody, and I forget who it was, but somebody described Trump's personality as like a force of nature. He is able to will things, his drive and his tenacity and just his personality is such that he is able to do these things with the strength of his personality, and I will say the strength of his character in the sense that he wants the killing to stop. And he has been criticized every step of the way
Yep.
towards driving to peace when he went to the Middle East and he went to visit those Middle Eastern countries. He got blasted by people on the left, he got blasted by some people on the right, but he was laying the groundwork for what we just saw. Donald Trump is truly trying to play the long game.
Yep.
And even if this whole thing falls apart, even if it falls apart, and I hope that it doesn't, but I don't know of another president that could have gotten the coalition together of all of those Middle Eastern countries, all of the European countries as well. Nobody else could have done that except Donald Trump because he was not going to stop until he found
Yep.
peace.
I mean, there's a couple other things that's like not getting enough play is the strategy.
Yeah.
Newt Gingrich was on with Hannity the other night, and he said he laid out this game plan for peace in the Middle East in 2016 in front of AIPAC before he was elected.
Mm-hmm.
And the the willingness to stick to the plan and see it through has been understated. He doesn't fly by the seat of his pants the way people like to paint him.
Oh, people love to paint him like that, and he is not.
And then the other part is that he's willing to try. It might not work, but if it doesn't work, you're in the same spot now that you were before. So what does it matter? You have absolutely nothing to lose.
Yeah.
And that's a huge element of it. My son was they were playing baseball the other night, and they got their teeth kicked in, right? It was 14-0.
Oh, Lord.
And I walked in the dugout and I just gave him a little pep talk and I said, Bud, so now you're just playing. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, you're not going to lose anymore.
That's very true.
Like, you're already losing in a terrible way. I was like, so why not just play as hard as you can and go for it?
Yep.
And he was like, yeah, you're right. And he hyped up his little team and they went out there and they still ended up losing. They lost like 16-9. But the body language on the two teams, if you had seen my son's team walking out and the other team walking out and you didn't see the scoreboard, you would have been like, well, that team won.
Yeah.
Because they were like, heck yeah. Like we went out there, we kept playing, we played the whole game.
Don't give up.
Don't give up. What difference would it make if you didn't try?
Right.
You're in the same exact spot, so you might as well try.
Well, and Trump, you're talking about how Trump spoke about wanting to find peace in the Middle East in 2016 in front of AIPAC. He's been consistent on Iran for years.
Yep.
He's been consistent about how Iran is, one of the biggest, they obviously are. They're one of the biggest terrorist threats in the world. And they are the ones that fund the terrorist organizations. And Trump has always said that they can't have a nuclear weapon. And he's done everything he can to try to sanction them so that they are unable to fund terrorism as well. He's been very consistent. And you're right about how he's been very strategic along the way, building those relationships and trying to navigate through all of these foreign leaders that, like Emmanuel Macron, that think that Donald Trump is just a joke. And while they're joking about him behind his back, caught on camera, but while they're joking about him behind his back, he is making deals and bringing peace to not only the Middle East, but all of these different conflicts that he has solved.
And you made the points, peace through strength.
Yep.
But he always gives them a bridge back. Do you notice that too?
Well, yeah.
Like it's not just like we'll annihilate you. It's we'll annihilate you, but if you want to talk, you have so much oil and we could build a prosperous future for Iran that would be unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's not just screw you guys, I'm going home.
We're going to annihilate you. We are going to destroy you and leave you to, rot in the desert. No. He'll say, we'll annihilate you and then we can work together for a more prosperous Iran for the people of Iran.
Yep.
And he's saying the same thing about the people of Gaza. And, he wants to annihilate Hamas, obviously. We all do. Literally the entire world does, except for maybe Iran and Hamas. But he's talking about wanting to help the people of Gaza.
Yep. He always, and he humanizes the enemy.
Yeah.
The quickest way to conflict is to dehumanize your enemy.
Yep.
The quickest way to peace is to humanize them. And he does it in Ukraine and Russia too. He doesn't pick sides.
No.
He says too many lives have been lost on both sides. Too many Russians, too many Ukrainians. The killing has to stop. And he's right. He's right. And I know he's on the phone with Putin today. We got Zelensky coming in to the White House tomorrow. You think he's going to be wearing a suit?
He better. I can't imagine he wouldn't.
No, I don't.
Well, didn't he come? Didn't he come back to the White House and he did wear kind of, sort of a suit?
Yeah, it was like a really black suit.
It was like, but there was no tie.
Yeah, it looked like if a gay guy's husband died, what he'd wear to the funeral.
So anyway,
what? I'm just that's the best I can do.
I've never thought about what a gay guy would wear to his husband's funeral. I've never thought about that.
It's what Zelensky was wearing.
Okay, good. You know what? We'll see what he wears. Then we'll talk about it, on the next version of the podcast, if there is one.
Do you think is that the bridge too far?
That might be the bridge too far, man.
Okay, I can call out the Muslims, I can do all that, but as soon as I get to the gay guy at his husband's funeral, it's
Kamala Harris.
Yes, the most qualified presidential candidate to ever run.
That is
And-
a decent.
but-
that is
but-
a decent resume. But go ahead.
But there, well, some people have actually said I was the most qualified candidate ever to run for president.
I like I like the some people say. Very nice. But go ahead.
I'm just speaking fact.
Yeah.
So can I ask a question? If she was the most qualified ever, then how bad of a candidate did she have to be not to win? Do you know what I mean? Not only did the most qualified candidate ever not win the election, but she ended up, was it $20 million in short? $20 million short on her campaign.
$2 billion, and she was $20 million short.
Yeah. And she lost every battleground state.
7 out of 7.
She lost the electoral college vote as well, and she's lost the respect of the Democrat Party.
Everybody except for like Senator Mark Kelly and Tim Walz.
That's it.
Mark Kelly said that she would be a strong presidential candidate in 2028.
Sure. Well, you go right on ahead. But when you think about it, you were talking earlier about the lack of awareness. Clearly, she has a lack of awareness because she doesn't understand how large of a defeat she was handed.
I think she knows, and I think that
Well,
she's
but I mean, respectfully, if she knows, well, then what the hell is she doing?
still trying to be strong, I guess. I don't know. She's trying to make that book deal money. She's on a tour.
She is on a tour,
you know,
107 days.
Yep, 107 days. The people that would fund the campaign won't, because the big donors in the Democrat Party were very upset with how that money was wasted.
Oh,
Because it was spent on Megan Thee Stallion and
Yeah.
Beyonce appearances,
Mhm.
and they promised Beyonce concerts, and then when that didn't happen and Kamala started her speech, they left.
everybody left.
I don't know how you could put $1 into a campaign for Kamala Harris.
No, and again, they're already angry because Joe Biden stayed in the race too long. There was no primary with Kamala Harris and whoever else may have run at that time.
I think they would have had a better shot with Biden.
I don't know. That's a great question because
But
Biden.
do you think he would have lost every swing state? I think Biden could have picked up maybe in Arizona. Maybe.
Could he have picked up a Pennsylvania? You know, he's from Scranton.
Scranton Joe.
Scranton Joe. That's exactly right. I don't know. Man, that's a great question because where would he have gone after that debate with Trump?
And I'm not saying he would have won. I'm just saying I think he would have done better than Kamala.
Man, that's saying I don't know. What do you? What's your official talk show host opinion?
He would have done better than Kamala.
You think Biden, even after that debate with Trump, because that was a disaster.
But how many people watched that debate?
Well, I don't know how many people watched it, but the clips are on all over the place.
Yeah, but the blue no matter who crowd, they ignored those. They pretended they were out of
Well, yeah,
context.
but the blue no matter who would vote for Kamala or Biden.
That's true.
So I don't know.
I think he would have done a little bit better. Not by much,
Right.
but I think a little bit.
Well, and I think that you wouldn't have such a pissed off donor class.
No, and they are pissed.
Well, yeah, and you can tell for a number of different reasons. Let's look at the failures. Just in the news in the last couple of days. Barack Obama's presidential museum or whatever, presidential library.
Which looks like the Death Star, by the way.
Which does look like the... Hey, Mason, can we show a picture of Barack Obama's presidential museum library? I mean, look at this. It looks like the Death Star, and an ugly one at that. And, it's funny.
It's not even a nice Death Star.
It's so tall, and it's so large, and it's like, what the hell is in that thing?
Yep.
I mean, did he really do that much in 8 years? I mean, I'm sure, but that's a lot of square footage. I mean...
It's the best black president we ever had.
Sure. I mean, Reagan, he, of course, has, an Air Force One.
Actually, I take that back. Bill Clinton was the best black president we ever had.
He absolutely was. So you've got investors that are angry with Obama's presidential library because it is over budget, well delayed, and people are now making fun of the design. So you have that. Joe Biden is having a hard time getting people to donate to his presidential museum or library. And you still have the donors that are angry with the 2024 election.
Yep.
So how many people are going to be excited about giving money to the Democrats for the midterm elections or 2028?
A lot. I think they're gonna have a tough time fundraising. I think they're gonna need somebody that's unique
They're
and
going to
has
need somebody
energy.
so incredibly dynamic.
Stephen A. Smith.
Yeah. I could see how
It's
Stephen A. Smith could excite the Democrats. I can see that.
well, and because they'd be able to control him behind the scenes.
You think they'd be able to control him?
I don't think it would be like in the same way that you control Joe Biden. I think it would be in the same way that Trump's first term was hamstringed by neocons
Yeah.
and the old guard of the Republican Party.
I
Because
think
there's a lot to learn when you're going into government and you've never done that before.
Yeah.
And then to go in, and it's not like you were a congressman or a mayor or even a city alderman. You're going in with no knowledge.
Right.
So the learning curve is just absurd.
Look, I like Stephen A. Smith, but he spouts. He spouts off. That's what he does.
But what got Trump in the most trouble in Trump 1.0? It was leaning on the guys that knew what they were doing.
Right.
Whether it was his medical experts during the pandemic or whether it was the guys like John Bolton, even though he used him to his advantage at times, that stuff got him in the most trouble.
Right. But here, okay, here's my question, though. Because people are making the comparison: Stephen A. Smith, Donald Trump. Neither one is a politician.
I called it. Listen, I called it like last year that Stephen A. Smith is going to be running.
Okay, but can I ask a question?
Yeah.
What is he? I mean, and this is no offense to Stephen A. Smith, but what has he accomplished outside of being a sports commentator?
A
and
blowhard.
Okay, a blowhard. What has he accomplished? Donald Trump accomplished a hell of a lot. He put up half the buildings in New York. He built the business. He hit payroll. Stephen A. Smith has done nothing but, and again, says the commentator, but he's never done anything outside of being a commentator. It is so easy to be able to sit here and just spout off, but when you're actually somebody who is expected to do the job and get results, that's a completely different dynamic.
No, you're absolutely right.
So, I mean, just ask Pam Bondi, Pete Hegseth, Kash Patel, who I believe that there were some growing pains there. I believe, though, now that they've got their footing, but, Bongino as well. These are all people that for years made money just, frankly, talking about the Epstein files. And then they get in and all of a sudden, oh, crap, what do you mean we can't just go in there and release the Epstein files? I don't even know what the hell's going on with that anymore. But
I know. I still think there's something.
Yeah.
It's shady.
So they figured out.
We can both agree.
Oh, there's something shady there. But they figured out that you can talk about something and you can talk about politics, but when you get in there and you're in the chair behind the desk doing the job, it's a whole different dynamic. And Stephen A. Smith, he doesn't have the business experience that a Donald Trump does. So it's not a correct comparison.
Yeah, it's not like he can, like Trump, one of the things they'll say now is he's running it like a business.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He runs it like everything he does. He runs it with the perspective of a real estate deal.
Yep.
You're dealing with all of these different.
Well, what do you see the ballroom the other night? Wednesday night, he's at the White House and he's unveiling the new ballroom. And he's like, I talked about this on my show. He's like, yeah, they wanted $3 million. I said, I can't do that. Why don't you do 1.5? They're like, sir, I can't do 1.5. And he's like, are you kidding? He's like, this is a once in a lifetime project that you get to work on. You're excavating the White House.
Yeah.
He's like, you should do it for 1.5. He goes, he wouldn't do 1.5, but I got him down to 2.
That
and
is
I made
so
the joke.
funny.
I made the joke. I was like, I couldn't see Kamala Harris negotiating that deal.
No,
let
she
alone
couldn't.
a hostage release with Hamas.
No, she'd be like, give them whatever they want.
I saw the best meme. And it was 3 panels on each side. And it's Obama and a terrorist, Biden and a terrorist, Trump and a terrorist. And Obama says, let's negotiate. And the terrorist says, I'll blow shit up. And then Biden says, let's negotiate. And the terrorist says, I'll blow shit up. And then Trump says, I'll blow shit up. And the terrorist says, let's negotiate.
Well, you love how Trump was negotiating with, I think it was the Taliban,
Yep.
and he walked in and he had a picture of the guy's house,
Yes.
and he said, "This is your house, and if one of our members of the military gets killed or hurt, your house and your family will be destroyed."
Yep.
I mean,
Or the story where he was negotiating with Putin, and he said, it'd be a shame if those beautiful buildings in Moscow were blown up.
yeah,
And they said, "Did he believe you?" He goes, 5%. He goes, "But that was enough."
it's all you need, man. It's all you need. You need strength, and you need just a little bit of
crazy.
crazy. That's okay. That's what I was going. A little bit of crazy and unpredictability, and man, that is all you need. Now, what do you think is going to happen with that grand ballroom? Do you think that the Democrat? Because I was thinking about this. So this thing is costing millions of dollars to be built.
Which he's privately funding, by the way. It's not costing taxpayers that money.
Yep.
He's got donors chipping in, and he's chipping in some of his own money. Same thing he did with the flagpoles and the Rose Garden.
The donors love Donald Trump.
Yep.
They truly do.
Well, he's a dynamic individual.
Oh, he is a dynamic individual. But here's my question. Will there ever be a Democrat that will utilize that ballroom?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Do you think so? So in other words,
100%, because by the time it's done, and I would imagine that it's going to be done before this term is over, then we'll have 8 years of J.D. Vance, and then we'll be far enough separated. I do think, I think at this point, it is a predetermined conclusion that we got a Vance-Rubio ticket, especially the way they're positioning J.D. in the front.
mhm.
And unless something catastrophic was to happen in this country, who beats Vance? Who beats Rubio? Like, we're sitting here and we're game planning a Democrat candidate. And I'm sorry, unless a Bobby Kennedy was to go back over to the Democrat Party, I don't think anybody can beat Vance.
I don't think, okay, so let's do a matchup. J.D. Vance versus Stephen A. Smith. Now, I will tell you that I've spent a lot of time over the last couple of weeks listening to a lot of Stephen A. Smith. Got a lot of fire, got a lot of passion, but when it comes to eloquence and having the ability to talk about these ideas of politics and policy and all that, he doesn't have that eloquence yet, and J.D. Vance does.
Yep.
I think J.D. Vance would absolutely obliterate Stephen A.
Well,
Smith
And Stephen
in
A.
a debate.
And Stephen A. could spend the next 3 years studying it before these debates,
Right.
and JD would still blow him out of the water.
I think so because JD is just, I mean, no offense to Stephen A. Smith, but there's a difference between talking and bloviating about stuff and actually getting in there and getting to the core of ideas.
But this is why I almost think it's preconceived that Vance is going to be 48. Because if you game plan a Democrat candidate, the best option that we can come up with would be a Stephen A. The far left will tell you it's AOC.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't see either of those. I mean, listen, Vance, and maybe he'd lose the female vote, but if Vance went up there and was like versus AOC, and he's like, I'm sorry, but you have to understand that a lot of these countries wouldn't take a female leader serious, and this is a reality that we have to deal with. How does she respond?
Well, I don't think AOC.
She would melt down.
Well, she would melt. Well, she'd play the victim. That's what she would do. She'd play the victim and call J.D. Vance a, chauvinist or whatever.
Who would want a female playing the victim as president?
No, because well, I think AOC's weak.
Yeah.
I think that she isn't the smartest politician out there.
She canceled the Long Island Amazon facility that would have brought 25,000 jobs
Oh,
to her
God.
district.
I forgot about that. Yet, you know what? And this is what drives me crazy. Her district votes for her time and time and time again.
And the Democrat Party is so fearful of her going after Schumer that we're still in a government shutdown.
Still in a government shutdown, and I think this is going to be, have we passed, is this the longest government shutdown?
No, I think the longest was like 35 days.
35 days?
Yeah.
I don't see how the Democrats are going to be able to spin out of this.
Do you
Like,
believe the polling? I saw some poll and it was like, oh, 39% of Americans are blaming Republicans. And I just thought to myself, like, yeah, and the Iowa poll said that Kamala Harris was going to win in a landslide. Like,
I
I,
look at that a little differently.
I saw it and I was just like, are we believing polls all of a sudden again?
Well, no, but I look at it a little differently. So, roughly 50% of the American people are Democrats, right? So,
Oh, that's an interesting take.
right. So, you've got even roughly 20% of Democrats believe that it's the Democrats' fault. I mean, if you've only got 39% of people of the country blaming Republicans, well, then you've got a lot of people, even Democrats, believing that it's their fault. The people that are blaming Republicans are the die-hard Democrats. So, who did they ask? And how do they frame the question and all that kind
Yep.
of stuff? But I do believe that 39% of the American people would believe that Republicans are at fault for the shutdown because it's always the Republicans' fault about everything.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I don't. It's not that I don't buy it. I think it's irrelevant. I think that if any rational person understands where you've got Schumer and the Democrats, all the Republicans want to do is continue the conversation,
Yep.
reopen the government, continue the negotiation. This is a massive misplay by the Democrats.
And then
because
how about Trump? You know, one of the things they were going to use was bludgeon him with the military and be like, "Oh, you claim to be pro-military, but they're not getting checks," and he figures out a way to do it.
Love it.
Which I secretly think Elon Musk is helping foot that bill.
You think Elon is the one that when Trump said, I got a very rich person that is willing to pay the military, you think
I
that was
do.
Elon?
I do.
Do you think Elon and Trump have made up?
Well, they did it at Charlie Kirk's memorial.
Well, I know that they sat together, but
They-
are they officially, friends again? And well, okay, let me reframe that. Are they once again political allies? Because
I don't think they ever stopped being political allies.
he threatened to start a new
Yeah, but he's also
party.
an autistic guy that
Yeah.
gets
No,
angry and
I get
flies off of the handle.
it. Mm-hmm.
You know,
Very emotional.
very emotional. I don't think he was ever.
Serious.
Yeah, I think he was just talking shit.
So you think he's going to be? Well, he's also good friends with JD Vance.
They both tweeted out for Charlie with the picture. I think they're and he's going to back Vance 100% of the way.
Yep. Yep.
I think they're back on the same page.
What about the midterms? So okay. So and we got to wrap this up. I know. But we've got a couple of things going on regarding the midterm elections.
Oh, but I was going to say he paid the military
Mhm.
and then he got the food for the women and children program, the money for the food programs.
Oh yeah.
Those are two huge pieces that they were going to
Dude,
go at
he-
Trump with, and he took care of it.
What's right?
It's 40
I
40 chess.
hate to sound like a cliche, but yeah, 4D chess, 3D chess. So the Democrats are playing checkers. He's playing chess because he's got the moves. He knows what they're going to say, and he solves the problem before they can even bring it up. Then they
Yep.
bring it up, and it's like, oh, no problem. This is how we fix it because he's a leader and he's a manager.
Yep.
And
Well, and I would always when I was working at Turning Point, I was a media director. It was a lot of young kids, and I would say to them like, stop bringing me problems, bring me solutions. Like if you're going to tell me something's wrong, like you're going to need to at least game plan a couple options
yep.
on how to fix this
Mm-hmm.
before you bring this to me.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm going to say go game plan a couple options.
Yeah.
So skip that step.
Because the whole point of Turning Point is finding young leaders. And that's how
Yep.
you find young leaders and cultivate young leaders is to get them to problem solve.
Yep.
Last thing, midterm elections. We got two things going on. Supreme Court and you've got the Voting Rights Act, 1965. It looks like that's going to fall.
Do you feel like we might get rugged by the Supreme Court here?
No.
Not at all.
No. I think when John Roberts, gives you an indication that he's siding with the conservatives, then that's the way that it's going to go. In my opinion, maybe I'm wrong, But if ultimately that does fall, then estimates are Republicans will
19.
make adjustments across the country, redistricting 19 seats in the House of Representatives. So you've got that. You've also got the redistricting wars across the country.
Are we running out of time on the redistricting wars?
No, I don't think so. I mean, state legislators have to do what they have to do. We got like we got 13 months.
Okay.
So I don't think so. I mean, maybe in some cities or maybe in some states, but I think all told, if that Voting Rights Act goes down and the redistricting happens mid-decade in all of these various states, I think not only are we going to win the midterms, I think we are going to be solid moving forward for a long time. And before the left starts to say, "Oh, the Republicans are stealing elections or they are suppressing the vote," they know darn right well they would do the same damn thing.
Yep. Well, and we're playing by the book.
Yeah, we are.
We have to fight fire
We're
with fire.
going through the Supreme Court and the court system and all that.
And let's not forget that the Democrats' plan, had they won the election in 2024, was stack the Supreme Court.
Yep.
They were going to go.
They would go
just as
nationwide
hard.
with no ID
There
for
was
voting.
going to be mass amnesty.
Yep.
Congratulations, newcomers! You're allowed to vote now.
Yeah.
They were willing to change the fabric of America to retain power. What the conservatives are doing is fighting back to keep America, America.
Yeah. And doing it legally through the court system and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I think, and don't forget, the Democrats also would have expanded the Supreme Court. They would have done all of those things to cement their power for years to come.
Yep.
So, all right, well, that's it. So,
Cement the power, baby.
good talk. I'm Dan Mandis. Follow me at Dan Mandis Show.
I'm Chris Hand, at Chris Hand on air. Make sure to leave a comment on anything that we've talked about below. I mean, we talked about a lot of stuff. How do you feel about having kids? Is now the right time to do it? How do you feel about the Muslim invasion of Western culture? Leave a comment. Get spicy. Don't worry. We're not going to delete any comments, even if you disagree with us. Whether you agree with us or you're wrong, it's fine. And then, what do you think about President Trump and the plans? Are you confident about the midterms? Are you confident about the Supreme Court? We want to hear from you guys. That's our secret weapon.
And
I
let us know
often
how you
say.
feel about Stephen A. Smith.
Oh, he's the best.
Stephen A.
Oh, I
versus
thought you
JD.
meant Stephen Miller. Sorry.
No,
I jumped.
I like
I
Stephen
jumped the
Miller.
gun. I jumped the gun when I said, "Oh, he's the best." I was thinking Stephen Miller.
Yeah,
he's
no.
tiny, but he's fiery. But you guys are our secret weapon, and you keep our feet close to the ground. So, like, your opinion really does help shape what we do. So, jump in the comments and share the show with your friends as always.
See you next time.
Cheers.